Hi, my name is Maya, and this is a completely unqualified person's view of the Vtubing space over the past month. This was supposed to be a weekly thing, and then I didn't do it for 2 weeks, but I still want to do this, and I have to do a lot to cover, so I'm talking about stuff from the past 2 weeks at minimum. This will start with some broader topics and then get more onto a specific thing that I actually really want to talk about, but I felt I had to include a lot more other stuff as well. I don't have a joke for this, let's just get right into it. Twitch have decided to add basically just TikTok for Twitch clips. When I say basically just TikTok for Twitch clips, I mean exactly that. It is just TikTok, but all the videos are clips you could just see on people's channels. Why? Surely you're already following the people whose clips you want to see. This does not actually help for discoverability because clips are not a good view of someone's content. They are very short amounts of what are several hour-long pieces of content. I disagree with this decision overall. Apparently, the plans are to have two discovery algorithms, one for larger channels and one for smaller channels. I don't have that tweet bookmarked, but my main question is what defines a smaller channel? I assume you would have to hit affiliate at the very least, so Twitch is still making money, and by making money, I mean losing money. But there's nothing to actually define where the cutoff point for a smaller channel is and how you break into the bigger channel sphere. Some negative news from Corp and by proxy Hololive and HoloStars. Maggie Desmond and Noir Vesper graduated. I read the announcement. This reads more as they were sort of pushed out the door and offered the chance for it to be a graduation. They've been on an extended hiatus for several months now, and I get the slightest feeling that it was a come back to do your jobs or you will be fired, knowing that they couldn't actually come back to do their jobs. And people are varying amounts of sad about it. Someone made a joke about the fact that everyone who has played Mario Party with Callie has eventually just graduated. But I'm not here to make jokes about that. I'm sure someone is upset. Frankly, I don't actually know anything about these two. Some more beneficial news. Idle have recently updated their terms of service, banning people using their talents' voices without permission to train AI models. Even if the permission is granted, you can't abuse such models. I'm not entirely sure who's defining what offensive or misleading content is. Though I assume audio of licking a horse's ass was probably somewhere up there. Niji Sanji finally opened auditions again for that EN wing. No one's fucking auditioning. No one's auditioning, right? We can all agree how that's a terrible thing to do. They're open until the 19th of September if you care. Well, 18th of September to the 19th of September. I don't know how time zones work. But they have graduations going up for the rest of the year, at the very least. It's very clear why, and we'll get onto it a bit later, but no one's auditioning. If they get even 2 new talents out of this, I would be thoroughly impressed. On to some better news. Idle are still auditioning for Gen 3. They are open until the 6th of September, so I recommend getting in there if you're interested. They are apparently very beneficial. Again, we'll talk about it much later on. Yeah, they recently debuted the 2nd generation of EN, and recently a Spanish one as well. I have a feeling they're starting to get to the point where they want to just debut a shit ton of generations, but apparently the perks are pretty good, and applicants should have a feminine voice. I see the VTuber bias is alive and well. I mean, no. They are a talent agency that only has female talents. I don't. Obviously, they're going to want a more feminine voice for the female talents. I don't see the problem with this. People are making, as it says there, looking for mountains where they don't exist. This is the topic I actually really wanted to talk about. Idle, over the past couple of weeks, have made a big push for transparency. especially in the greater VTuber community, and they keep sort of egging on and taking pot shots at other companies that aren't doing this. They first started by releasing how much Idle takes from their talents on the stream side of things. People were confused by this graph, and frankly, I'm not entirely sure how. It's pretty fucking clear, and especially if you can read, you actually can't see the full graph when I zoom in like that. That's a problem with this current setup that I will fix another time. By the end of 2023, they committed to making the talent contract transparent. Today, we decided to reveal one of the biggest secrets in the VTubing agencies, percentage cut for our VTuber talents. Now, this was slightly after they announced the third generation auditions, so I'm assuming they got a big boost of auditions right after that point. Maybe it was a PR stunt. Please ignore the dogs outside. I literally can't control them. So, in short, 60% of the money goes directly to the talent. This is good. This is very good. See this solid blue 60% here? That goes directly to the talent. And 40% goes to the company by proxy. But there is a caveat. 15% of the total revenue goes to the talent's expenditure coverages, on average. This is a average number, so the percentage may vary, but of Idle's cut, just short of about half of it on average goes back into reinvesting in the talent. This is very good. This means that if a talent needs new equipment or games, anything, they can go to the company. It might take a bit for the expenditure report to get approved, but they don't have to pay out of pocket for these things, which is significantly better than Niji Sanji En VTubers. Shoutouts to that time they held an art contest and the talent had to pay $5,000 out of pocket for a fucking prize because the company was just outright refusing to. I really like this. I think 60-40 is maybe a bit high, but we don't have numbers from other talents, and that is a very important thing to note, that we don't have numbers from other companies. I promise you, this is very important. But 60-40 seems... the talents seem relatively happy about this whole situation. They don't seem upset about it. Obviously, very few people have actually graduated from them. They have some of the lowest graduation rates of any major corporation, and I can respect it. Aviel Bassin has been amazing. He's the CEO of Idle Corp, and he's been great at just answering people's questions. Anytime someone has a question, if he gets to it, because there's been a hell of a lot of questions and a lot of them just aren't worth answering, he's been sure to drop the answer in. Someone decided that the graph was bad because he can't read. But Aviel did respond to the question below. They don't offer performance bonuses because that leads to burnout and stress. And also they don't take any cut from the charity streams. It all goes to the charities. Both very important questions that needed answering. I love that. This was just a tweet about the fact people were struggling to read. But it also breaks down what their reinvesting goes into. Expansion, salaries, and saving for bigger projects. That does mean 3D lives, concerts, albums, convention appearances, new outfits, and a lot of them were already in production. Idle did announce that the first gen of VN were getting 3D models, so that's pretty cool. I don't have that bookmarked, but you know, that exists. I'm gonna be sure to bookmark more things in future. But I feel like we have a lot to talk about already. I don't know why these dogs are so adamant about shouting today. They've been silent for the past, like, half hour. Now, this is where we get to some questionable, some questionable images from Idle. But as they promised in the earlier tweet and a tweet from the day before, here's the breakdown of the revenue split with the talents. This is great. YouTube tips revenue, they get 60%. That's what this graph was about before. Whereas on average, the industry gets 50%. Idle talents get 30% of physical goods revenue, when the estimated average is 20%. You can see all of these numbers paint Idle in a very good light. A $6,000 debut package. All streaming expenses paid by them. But, all the presented estimates are derived from internal studies. And they encourage other corporations to share their data. In other words, haha, you guys aren't sharing your numbers, which means we can say whatever we want. Which is a good point, because I'm not too sure where these numbers came from. Someone asked why the physical goods percentage is so low. Talents only get 30%, which means the company is getting closer to 70%. And he answered that. Managing a shop requires significant resources and active involvement, ranging from customer support to dedicated store financial management, as well as everyday tasks associated with maintaining and operating online stores. On the other hand, the talents don't do a whole lot. For us as a small corporation, they are not a small corporation. I mean, like, in comparison to other VTuber companies, they are pretty small, but they don't seem that small. But yeah, I don't like this line for us as a small corporation, but sure, I can get behind it. Someone else brought up a good point, which was you need better internal data collection because these numbers are blind conjecture at best or arbitrary for your own PR at worst. I think that's a bit accusatory. I do agree that without knowing where these numbers came from, we don't actually know how accurate they are. All the numbers should be taken with a pinch of salt. They are estimated industry averages from numbers that they aren't letting us see. Aviel did mention this at one point, saying that we're not allowed to reveal those numbers for obvious reasons. But I don't know why you wouldn't be able to reveal the actual numbers. I'm assuming it's a contract thing, but still, I don't like the fact that these numbers are seemingly just arbitrary. We don't know where these came from. And the streaming expenses often paid by talents, again, we don't know the full extent of that. Kawa is the only company to have followed up, and this graph makes my eyes bleed. I questioned this immediately when they posted this, but I don't like this graph. The long and short of it is that Kawa take a fixed 3 that averages $183 a month. This seems great, except the average may or may not be a percent cut. The CEO of Kawa has answered a couple different people, and the graph makes it seem like it's a percent cut, but it says 100% goes to the talent and that it's a fixed fee. But equally, in responding to other people, they've said the fixed fee is a percentage cut, which I don't understand how that works. I don't actually understand how any of it works. I don't know who Kawa Entertainment is. They have like 13,000 followers, and I've never heard of them. So I looked into it, and it turns out, on top of the CEO talking about this, a couple of the talents are, including Cozy. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right. They're an alpaca. Apparently it's hard to list out a percentage like that. The tweet they were responding to is deleted, unfortunately. But, that's not a percentage. I thought it was a fixed fee. But Cozy seems to be under the implication that it is a fixed fee, as it's easy to budget around a flat fee and we know how much of the percentage it is for us month to month. These sentences are very difficult for me. I'm assuming they mean that, like, you know, any amount of money is a percentage of what the talent is making. It's just the fixed fee averages $183 a month, and it's technically a percentage of whatever they made that month. I don't know, though. Seriously, this is very difficult to put my head around. Cozy, again, made another tweet about it. This time a full tweet, a quote retweet, rather than just a reply. Cow decided on this to help make sure we got the most of our personal work as humanly possible. Our content is our content and donations are donations. They just need a tiny bit to keep the lights on, which is great. I'm not sure how they're doing that though. Because like $183 a month on average across, I don't know how many talents they have, but it's not on like a HoloLive scale, so they can't be bringing in more than a couple grand a month through this method. You know? It doesn't include sponsorships and merch, but like, I don't know how they're keeping the lights on with a couple grand a month. I would love to be able to talk to the Cowa CEO more, but their answers were kind of spotty. They did immediately answer a couple of the questions I brought up when I quote retweeted, though, so that's very nice. And finally, this number, someone pointed out $183. You see, I'll probably get more out of this than a Netflix subscription. That $183 covers management, marketing, graphics design, website development, events, conventions with panels, discussions, and new ideas, and analytical assessment, tech help, etc. I don't think discussions about new ideas cost a lot of money. But whatever. So that's the long and short of it. Even Cozy is surprised about the amount of money that they decided, about the amount of money they're taking, even as one of the talents. So that's Vtubing in the past month. I don't understand any of what I've just read. To give you the long and short, I think that push for transparency is really good. We're going to enter a bit of a speculation zone quickly that I've wanted to do since I decided I was doing this. And, what talents, what companies are going to come forward next? We've got the big three left. We've got HoloLive, Niji-Sanji, and VShojo. Niji-Sanji aren't coming forward. They would shoot all their talents in the back of the head before they released any numbers about how much they're taking from their talents. Okay, they have 6 months of debuts at least, 6 months of graduations at the very least. It's for a reason. They are not saying they are not giving us a number in the slightest. We are getting nothing from them. It's very clear. So, the last two, HoloLive and VShojo. I think VShojo are the most likely to come out. Frankly, they could do with the extra buff of PR after losing half their talents. HoloLive don't care. HoloLive aren't going to give us numbers. They don't care. They're HoloLive. Who's going to stop them? They are massive. No one's going to stop them. So yeah, this ended up being a lot longer than I expected it to be, but this was fun. If you know of any more companies that came out about their numbers, please do let me know on Twitter. I have a Twitter. Whoa. It's Mayurajanta. It shouldn't be that confusing. If I remember to, I'll put it in the description. If you have any advice for how I could improve this, other than actually go into the articles, I set this up in like 5 minutes, seriously. But I'm open to any advice or tips people could give me. Frankly, I don't know what I'm doing, and some extra help would be lovely. These are primarily going to be unedited videos with some facts and some opinions side by side. I really like that idea, and it produces the happy chemicals when I get to waffle about stuff that I'm not qualified to waffle about. Follow me on Twitter if you want to see more of these. I do occasionally tweet shit about the stuff that I want to talk about later on. So that will be a great place to catch up on my early opinions on topics that I talk about. And then you'll get to see how it further develops over the line when I then make the video and you get to see me completely 180 and decide that it's a terrible idea. Anyway, I don't know what else to talk about. Goodbye.